Welcome to Soundbreaker. On today's episode, we're talking to John Dahlbäck, who is the head of A&R of Amuse, based out of Sweden. John, thank you for joining us today. And for our listeners who might not be familiar with you, please introduce yourself and before we dive into it. Thank you.
Sure. I have been a touring and recording artist for a long time now, since 2001, 2002,
Ooh.
perhaps. So I started releasing
So
music.
you're a rock star.
No, but I was doing and releasing music while I was still in school, which led to when I then graduated from school, I went from that to touring. And I was even doing shows while in school. So even though I was underage, technically, I had to perform. So I did that. I started touring in Sweden and then Europe and then US, Asia, Australia. So I've covered the whole lot.
So your love for music goes way back, goes really way back.
It goes way back. I mean, my dad is a drummer in an old progressive rock band, and then jazz, and then
So we know where the inspiration came from the family.
yeah. And my brother and cousin, they are both producers as well. So yeah, no pressure.
Were you a DJ also?
I had to, because when you put out so much music, you have to perform it at some point. Um, so I was forced into becoming a DJ, something that I learned after a few years. I hated, but yeah.
Wait, you started your own label also. Pick a doll.
Pick it all, yeah. That was my first label. I've had about 7 or 8, which was also not the best scenario maybe in the end. But yeah, I've had my own labels, and it was mostly to release my own
Your own
music.
music.
I've been
Got
very
it.
productive and very. My thought of making music is that it should always be easy, and whenever you're making it too complicated, you should just stop it. So I've just released over 1,000 titles to my name, and it was all very diversified. So I needed one label for each of my styles, more or less.
Different genres, different style of music, and the different brand. Got it. So,
Yeah.
any hits that we heard of, we know about back in the day?
I mean, I've had most of the success was mainly in France, Belgium, Holland, Germany. US was always tough to crack. I've had more touring success in the States than in Europe, but more of a music success in Europe.
What's your biggest hits that you produced or you done yourself?
I mean, my biggest song was a song named Blink, and that track came out in France, and it it came together with a movement in France called the tectonic, which was a type of dance. So it was very popular back then to do this dance and perform it in front of thousands of people. I didn't, but others did. That are
Amazing.
better.
And you have also Raven, correct? You came out with Raven.
Yeah, and that had more of a maybe success in North America. Also, I've had some songs out with Cascade, and yeah.
You know, I don't know what it is, but some of the top music writers, producers come out of Sweden. I don't know. Is it something in the water or is it in the genes? And obviously, your cousin, your dad, your is it some of the best really how should I say some of the best work and some of the best music creators and talent coming out of there? What's the secret? Why are they so driven into the art? And I'm talking about music because music is art. So
Yeah.
what's really yeah.
I mean, I think there's a few different combinations. The schools here are pretty good, and they encourage to. When I went to school, I had to learn at least one instrument in school.
You must.
Um, yeah, well, back then it was. I don't know how it is these days, but music is a subject in school, and they are very encouraging of teaching out different, piano, guitar, and all these instruments. But then I also think it's, we have the weather here is not so great. It's
So
very
keep you
difficult.
indoors, disciplined indoors. Well, what should I
Correct.
do? Play a video game or should
Yeah.
I play music? Okay.
You just look outside the window, you would assume that it's nighttime. It's only 5 p.m. So, and we're already in, it's not even November. So in December, you're going to have darkness already around 2, 3 p.m. And
Wow. Wow.
so
Wow.
it's depressing, and you need to get those emotions out somehow.
Hmm. Yeah, you know what? At least I'm with the school system in Sweden. At least they promote positivity, joy, and happiness because that's what music brings. Bring joy,
Yeah.
happiness, positivity, and bring unites people together. It's a
Hmm.
universal language. Now, I didn't know that you worked with Avicii, God rest his soul, and
Yeah.
Ingrosso, who's still kicking. He's alive and he's progressing. Tell us about that. How did it fall in that you worked with them? And then and what did you what the experience or what did you learn, what was your takeaway with working with such great legends like Avicii and Ingrosso,
Yeah.
who was part of what is it,
Swedish
house
House Mafia.
Swedish House Mafia, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, we were a very small clique of people who made music, especially
Hmm.
in this space of
Hmm.
the world, and it made sense that we need to just stick together. Even though you could have made trance or techno or house or whatever, we had to, because it was almost frowned upon making electronic music, because you viewed it as something that came out of the Eurodance disco. It was not the coolest commercially, but we were a small clique of people that made it, and we found each other. And even though you didn't maybe got on well personally, you had to had to support each other. And it was the same when Avicii came around. It was interesting when he came, because he started in the internet era when he became massive on the blogs. So we just linked up one day and sat in the studio and make a couple of tracks, and
You did.
then
Wow.
we released one song that we
You did with
call ourselves
Avicii.
Jovici,
Uh-huh.
and that was before his big track Levels.
Levels,
We were
yeah.
just before that, but it's very interesting. We have different type of uh, workarounds in the studio, and everyone wants to almost fight to be the one turning the knobs, so to speak. So it's conflicting sometimes.
Interesting. So, a very interesting journey and very creative journey. It's all full of music. Every step of the way you took, every turn you took, it's all about music. Whether you started your own label, you're performing, working with some legends, creating your own hits. So you pretty much really learned the music business, not just being an artist, also how to handle business, how to do things by having your own label at a young age, which prepped you for bigger things in life. And how this whole thing of your journey took a turn to, being part of Amuse, which is started from Africa, he says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
how did
mean,
your trip went to, how did you end up there? And how did even Amuse get started in Africa? That's another thing that I didn't even know about.
it's not in Africa anymore.
Correct.
I am going to an office in Stockholm, Sweden. I was When COVID hit a few years ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't tour, and I needed to do something with my life. So I started to try a few different things. I started scoring a few things for some film and TV in the Nordics, and then at that time I was just a good user of Amuse as an artist. So I distributed through Amuse, and then one day I was like, "Hey, I should probably get a day job at some point." It's something that I've always wanted to do as well for some bizarre reason, but I wanted to have a 9 to 5 and almost work in a cubicle. So I called the owner of Amuse and say, "Hey, my name is this and that. I want to work at your company." And he said, "Yeah, I want you to work here too." And I asked, "Well, what should I do?" And he was just like, "Well, let's find that out at some point." So we sat down and figured out what I should be doing at Amuse, and that was in 2021 January, and I have loved every second of it.
Wow.
It's a company that I feel like I can be creative, and I can have ideas, and I can take that to the top and present, and they would listen. Uh, and I hear, because it's my first job, I hear it's not so common
Hmm.
in other
Can you
jobs.
tell us about the idea behind Amuse? I mean, obviously you joined them later on once they started, way
Yeah,
before they started, I'm sorry. Yes, you joined them way after they started, not before. What
yeah.
am I saying? Yeah, you joined them later on. But if you can give us a bit of background on Amuse, where the idea came from, if you're able to share that with us, and
I think that the idea is to just have a great distribution channel, and that everyone can join and um, you know earn 100% of the royalties, and just a fair distribution system. And I joined it because of that, and the fact that it was a national thing. I'm Swedish, they're Swedish.
Mhm.
And then the more I've been there, the more I've learned that it's a very, very small portion of the company now that even operates just in Sweden. Is mostly towards US and Europe. But yeah, I joined it because I feel like it's a great service. It's very easy. I can upload music through the app, and have it out in a couple of weeks.
What
Um,
makes it easy? What makes it easy? I mean, there's other platforms out there. I don't need to mention names, but
sure.
all the platforms out there, the popular ones, and one of them does also mastering. They
Yeah,
know for being, yeah, and I'm like, okay, but
we have mastering too, but
yes, you
but
do.
but it's more. I like when something is clean and easy. So if I go on my phone and I see upload your song, okay,
Yeah.
I do it and I follow these steps, and then I can have it out if I want within 48 hours. If I want to plan it more, I can have it out whenever I want. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
very easy tool for me. I don't want to, okay, I've done this song. I need to go into these systems and I need to figure this out. I just want to upload it and have it done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a fast way.
Um, you know, I hope you don't mind me asking. Amuse was a free service. That's what when they started, they were known for being one of the first, or one of the few, DIY platforms that there's no money needed. You just come in, we take a percentage on the back end, and you upload your music. But you guys were curating music back then. Why the change from being 100% free to a annual subscription based platform for music distribution?
Well, I mean, we started completely free, and then we introduced different tiers. So you now have Pro and Boost.
Oh,
So you would basically pay to get a better distribution service.
like
What I
how?
get
What's the better?
It's just different type of services and when if you're doing a song together with someone, you split it with that person, and if you pay for the
Interesting.
pro version, you don't have to pay an extra charge for that and stuff like that. And I think, I mean, I don't work that much in the distribution space. I work more on the licensing part of the business, but I guess when you look at it, the people that want to pay for a service might have more ambition with their music. They might have a goal of something bigger, rather than. I mean, it's not crazy expensive either
Hmm.
or.
Hmm.
But I guess I think we saw that the majority of people releasing that were on the free tier. I mean, weren't people that maybe even released music. They might release one song and then they didn't have any ambition of continuing that. While people on Pro had more of a ambitious outlook, and they had a release schedule and bigger plans for their artistry.
Yeah, you guys still have the free version, or not really? Now it just
No,
everything is subscription.
yeah,
You're an artist. you're an A&R, you're an music executive already, but you're an artist also. You're in heart. That's where you grew up to be, and that's where you gain all your knowledge and experience. You had labels before. Do you think a lot of the independent artists right now, they are confused? It's a bit confusing. There's so many platforms, so many AI tools, promotion tools. Obviously everything is subscription based. Everything you got to whip out your card and pay. There's the mastering platforms also. Even you have your own. You said in Amuse, but there's others. So how do you like? What direction artists see as an artist yourself? I'm asking you this because you're an artist and you've been through this kind of how should I say this path. And is there a level of confusion now because there's so many different platforms, so many different AI tools to, hey, we're here to empower artists, we're here to enhance this and subscription here, subscription there, subscription there. There's so many subscriptions out there, like so many. I'm like, how do artists kind of define all this? What's best for the artist? How do you make a music stand out between all of these competitions? I don't want to say no, it's just competitions. Yes, competition is healthy always because drive people to be more innovative and to become better at what they do and advance. But still,
I mean, when I started releasing through Amuse, or just before that, I was used to the traditional label setup and the major label setup. I didn't even know that you could put out songs by yourself, which I felt fantastic. And that was not. It was not that long ago, so it's already progressed so fast
it
in
is.
these few years. I just wanted to find a home where if I email someone about any questions regarding my distribution of the music I do, for me it was always important that those people answering that it's a fast paced reply that I get, and there are actually humans working it, and I can talk to someone if I need to. And I tried out a few competitors, and of course, I mean everyone has their own
Yes.
thing, right? So but I've always believed in that I need to work with people. And if I have a question about my music, I want to ask that question to a person. And I don't want that answer to take 1 or 2 months to get replied to.
Correct.
Amuse has always been very proud in the support and replying to people on a fast paced, yeah, very
So
very fast.
Muse takes a very proactive role in working with artists immediately. When somebody has an issue, they jump on it. They're not like, okay, let's get back to him. It's not
Yeah.
like more of robotic answers or, you know,
No, I mean, artists are the most antsy people out there. If I have a question, I need that question to be answered now.
yes,
And so you have to have a great support team and people that
yes,
are always on the edge replying to these very, very antsy people. I don't know if antsy is the correct term.
yes, it is. It is. There's a fire under them. They want it yesterday.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
yesterday. Yes, absolutely. As again, being in the music business for so long, what do you think the future of music distribution? Is it going to be? Nothing stays the same. You remember, I don't know if you've been through the physical era. Now we went to the digital era, and we are entering a new era. I wouldn't say an AI era. No. AI, as far as, operational, it will be, yes, for sure. But we're entering a different era. And because, ages have changed. Once you were 14 and 12, now the younger generation dictate a lot of this traffic that goes to streaming platforms, and a lot of them maybe no longer find it fun anymore, and it doesn't have that joy experience anymore besides just putting a pair of earpods and a phone in your hand or listening. They want to interact, they want to be part of it. It's all about interactions and having that experience, or they call it experiential. What's, in your opinion, where the music next era heading to, as far as whether we're gonna? Okay, I mean, you're not a tech scientist that I would say what's new in the tech world, that how we're gonna be consuming content. Is the phone's gonna be the thing? Was it gonna be glasses or lenses, or I don't know? But that usually dictate how do we consume content, whatever the next way we communicate, the next device or next technology or next tech era. But what do you think the future of the music business distribution and probably how and what's going to be next also for consumption, like how it's going to be all consumed. Not everybody say, oh, this will stay in this. They're not going nowhere. Great thinking. Yes, positive. Love it.
Yeah.
But is it reality? No, reality is different.
No, but it's a massive topic, right? But even
Very.
if so, I when I started releasing music, it was on vinyl.
Oh
So
my God. Okay. So you've been through that era of
I've been through the changes, correct? But I guess it's about how you communicate to your fans, right? When I released vinyl, I didn't communicate anything. There weren't no social media platforms, nothing.
yes,
And when you
yes,
went into these vinyl record stores, at least the ones that I bought vinyls in, it was what's it called? The sections were in labels, not even genres or artists. It was in labels. So I went in there and I go, I like these labels. Let's see what they have put out. I didn't care what the artist was. So there was we went from communicating zero to your fans, except for at shows, of course.
yes,
But when you release music, you communicated nothing to your audience. And then you came into the digital stuff, and you released music on Spotify, and then Instagram, everything like this. You can suddenly communicate with your fans. You can tell someone, "Hey, I just released this song." And you see also now you have other platforms that are very consumer or audience driven, where you just share your music directly with them. It
yes,
doesn't have to be live anywhere else. It can just be, you buy my piece, and you have it, you and maybe a few selected others. So I mean, I just see more and more communication with the audience, which is fantastic. It's a great step. But then it's impossible to say what is going to come after a Spotify or any other DSPs for that matter.
hmm
But I think this will be around for a while. But I think just the way that we communicate around the releasing music is the changing bit. That's what's changing now, and has been changing for a little while, I guess. It might be a terrible answer to your question, but it's just how you put out your music. I don't see. I mean, the biggest change also is that many people prefer to just release it independently, not through any labels.
We do see that change. That's why there's probably a big increase in your business at Amuse. Like you
Yeah,
see a lot more artists. Like wow, because a lot more artists want to be independent. Nobody wants to be tied in to anything. And I see there's a rise of personal management companies appearing more and more because people want to be. They rather be with management and have control of their own distribution and their own marketing. They're being more, how should I say, more rounded. They want to understand the business. They want to control certain things,
yeah,
and this shy away from signing to a label. You know,
which is
there'll
great.
always, I guess, will be major labels, but do you see less and less go in that directions?
Yeah, and I mean, whenever I reach out to someone that I feel I want to license, I think should be that would benefit for being in a license with a Muse.
Mm,
There's a reason why I'm reaching out. It's not just because I like the music, but they
hmm
have done something to grow themselves.
Yes.
They've done it completely on their own, and it's important for them to understand that they have done so. They have done it
hmm
completely on their own. They have been talking to fans, doing ads, whatever they've been doing. It's been
hmm
working, and I'm not
Yes.
when I'm licensing them. I'm not promising that, oh, we will grow streams or we will do this and this and that, but we can amplify things, and we can make sure that they have funding so that they can focus on the next steps. Because an artist, in most cases, they don't care that much about their previous works. They are 100% in their next single that's going to drop next Friday.
Now, as an A&R, that was kind of surprising to me that a DIY platform would have an A&R person, head of
Yeah.
A&R. And I'm like, okay, we all know what the title means, but what does it mean for Amuse? What's the active role that you take working at Amuse? And, and your I wouldn't say your daily task, but what's your focus and vision on being a head
Yeah.
of A&R
And
at
I
a
mean,
DIY
the
platform?
title is misleading if you have music industry experience. Is
Yeah.
misleading. But so when someone in the past used to go out on concerts scouting for bands and artists, I'm doing the same, but on the data side of things in our platforms.
Hmm.
I'm going in and viewing what's bubbling and what's trending and what's also not dying immediately in terms of genres and tracks and whatnot. What's here in the long run and what's all these variables. And it can to be completely honest, it can take a little minute for me to even listen to the music.
Hmm.
Uh, and I keep it that way because it's so much music out there. And if I would base my decisions on listening to what's good and what's not good, I don't think Amuse would have had such a great
Hmm.
license roster. But we have been very thorough on signing on data and seeing what's driving a stream or a catalog.
What is the biggest market for MUs right now? You see a lot of the artists coming in. Is it Africa? Is it India, Asia, Middle East, Europe,
Now
America,
we
Latin
have
America?
most of our licensed streams come from US,
Hmm.
and they are all in the indie space, indie pop, garage, rock. We are seeing we have obviously a lot of Swedish artists as well that knows us just from word on the streets,
Being a
and then
Swedish
we have
company.
these, yeah, and then we have these emerging markets that are always interesting, Nepal or Philippines or whatnot, and those are always very interesting to see because those are actually growing streaming markets.
Hmm. Yeah.
US might not be very growing as a streaming market, but those countries are. So that's always very interesting to look at.
Interesting. Would you mind give us some list of the options that Amuse offer to artists beside the global distribution for their music? What
Yeah,
other components, services that you guys offer that makes it stands out? So this way the artists they don't have to jump to different platforms and say, hey, at first I got to go here and then I got to go this platform, then I got to go to my distribution and say, hey, you don't have to do it. It's a one stop shop.
yeah. And I would say that our offering it can be so flexible that it's I always ask each artist, what are you looking for specifically? And I want to tailor the offers completely to each artist. I mean, we're a young company and a small company as well for what if you're talking employers, but we're super dedicated and everyone is really we're not set in stone. Someone said, and it might be a terrible reference these days, but older labels and major labels, there are massive tanks, but tanks move slowly. They have maximum capacity, but they move very slowly. But a muse can change from one day to another, and I can adjust every bit of a license deal as much as I want, together with the artist, and we together make what the deal in the end becomes.
Mhm.
If someone needs help with marketing, okay, we have a marketing team. If someone just wants funding, they can get funding. If they want funding for X%, yeah, we can tweak that.
So you guys
Some
fund the artists also, that's right?
correct, yeah,
Wow. There's a company called Beat Bread in the States. I don't know if you heard of them.
of course,
Yes, they also do funding for independent artists. And it's
yeah.
funny, Peter, who was the founder or co-founder,
Mhm.
he came from a major label, and how he saw the gap and also the transformation, as you mentioned earlier. A lot of artists want to be independent, and I think this is the future. This is one of
Yeah,
the biggest, the new era we're getting to, that artists want to be independent. We don't need anybody. We don't need to be signed to a label. We don't need to be controlled. We need to have the control our money, control our future, our marketing, our destiny, and all of distribution and everything.
Yeah. No, it's
Amazing.
correct. And
And how does the funding work out? I mean, I never heard of a. This is first, actually. I don't even know personally, honestly, that Amuse does funding, help artists, give them advancement against their previously earned royalties. How do you base your advances on, or your financing or funding for independent
yeah.
artists?
So we analyze the artist's statements, and we look at what drives the catalog.
Social media presence.
What's the underlying factor, and what are they getting paid per stream?
Yes. Well,
And we base an evaluation of that. And then, but it's not. What's important is that we, if it was just funding, that is one bit. Beatbread is great at what they do with funding.
yeah.
I believe that the service is not something that we should overlook. If I would to sell my catalog to anyone, I would assume that they would want to do something with it. And so it's very important for me that we have a good service around, especially back catalogs. I want an artist to feel like we are taking care of their back catalogs in terms of monetization, claims. In most of the times, there are so much things that are not taken care of, even though they've been using a professional distributor. Just because you release your music on a distributor doesn't mean that everything is being taken care of. And why should a distributor do that for a small subscription fee? But I believe when we have done license deals on Amuse, we have a team that is working only with the catalog, monetization and management, and making sure that we collect the most revenue possible for that artist. And sometimes they can find things that makes very big difference for an artist, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, whatever it is. So we take that very seriously.
Look back at your journey, your knowledge, your experience, and where you're at right now. Advice for different people: artists that's starting out, and entrepreneurs like yourself, because you earned both hats, or you really have two hats. One is an entrepreneur, because your journey, it only points as an entrepreneur and somebody who has the love and passion for music, being an artist. So also an advice for entrepreneurs who are starting in the music business. They want to be on the business side. And as an artist, an advice for each one, please. What would your journey so far concludes, you give you that, say, you know what, this is the advice I have for this and for that.
And for the artist side, I wish I knew. I wish I knew how to express myself on social media, because I'm extremely bad at it. And the people that we sign today, they're amazing with communicating to their fans. But I'm just not used to it. I'm more used to the vinyl age when you didn't do anything. I guess just talking to your fans and cherish your audience is the number one crucial tool that you can use, apart from also obviously make fantastic music. The business side is slightly more difficult to give any advice on. I've always teamed up with people that I believe in has a good potential to reach further, whether those are managers or artists or labels, or make songs together, and using the right sort of songwriters and whatnot in your career is also crucial.
So what are you saying? Collaboration is really a key component to be successful in the music, to build relationships and collaborate with others, because you never know.
I think so.
Hey, you heard it first at Soundbreaker here from John at Amuse, definitely. John, what do you guys have in the store for a lot of these independent artists for Amuse? What's next coming? Anything that you'd like to promote or mention? Like, hey, we're going to have a new component or new functions coming up in the next first quarter of 2025, because we are almost towards the end of the fourth quarter of 2024.
Not sure what I can actually mention. Apart from that, we do have a few fantastic signings that are releasing new music with us that I'm very happy about. We can we can take one Swedish example, which is Yasin, who is now #1 in Sweden. That is with Amuse. We have Michaelia, who we're releasing music with. She's from LA. We're releasing music with Walters, Yacht Club. We have a huge stable of artists that we work
Amazing
with. So yeah,
amazing. Well, I just want to say thank you for really allowing us this great interview, and shout out to Amuse, amuse.com. That's it. Amuse.com. IO. Amuse.io. Amazing. Yeah. Well, again, thank you for joining us today on Soundbreaker. And we thank Amuse also. For our listeners and viewers, please follow us on social media and stay tuned for our next episode. John, thank you again for joining us today, and have a wonderful day. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share the Soundbreaker podcast. And if you are joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.